weather message from the National Weather Service. A vigorous frontal system will bring significant...
Alright, so with this being kind of Test Your Might's first official podcast, the reason why I didn't want it advertised at all was because years ago, as I told both of you years ago, there had been talk in the staff forums about us starting a TestYourMight.com podcast, and it was all just talk. No one really had, in my opinion, no one really was putting forth the effort to actually do it, like financially or time, etc. So, I'm huge on not talking about things or doing things unless they're actually going to happen, because it kind of, quite frankly, pisses me off a little bit when people do that, especially when it's something that when you're looking forward to it.
Wait, people do what now?
I'm sorry?
When people do what now?
Well, when you hype something up and it never happens.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Not necessarily others, but myself, anyway. So I don't really like to talk about stuff until... Well, anyway. So, yeah, this is basically Test Your Might's official first podcast. Now, it basically... It only took almost 10 years. Because, yeah, this November will be 10 years for Test Your Might to be a thing. Now, originally we were called MortalKombatEmpires.com, but no one remembers that, and it's a good thing. So,
MortalKombatEmpires.com.
Yeah, that was our original name. I gotta give credit to Crazy Boone. He was one of our original admins. Him and I were thinking about new domain names. I told him, I was like, our domain name right now does not work because no one's gonna say MortalKombatEmpires.com all the time when they're referring to it. They're going to say MKE, right? So I wanted something without necessarily MK in it. I wanted something to sound different. And he's like, what about Test Your Might? I'm like, holy, my mind blown. I went immediately to GoDaddy.com. It was available. I purchased it. And so Crazy Bone, you get all the credit for that name still. The logo, I'm proud to say, was actually all me from the beginning. It's just been refined over the years. Actually, Johnny 2D, who's on the site here and there, he actually was the one who made the high-res version of it, which awesome guy. Anyway, since I've been talking so much already, how about we go to we'll go to HellBlazer real quick for an intro about yourself. And then after that, we'll go to Chris, okay?
Okay. Yeah, so I'm not really sure I have a whole lot to say here. I basically just kind of got into fighting games myself when I was kind of going through a bad spot around 2013, and the first Injustice game popped up, and I was like, yeah, you know what, this looks like something to get my mind off of things, and... I just found a kind of group of friends, and we just kind of stuck with it, kept playing, and eventually we found Test Your Might, and yeah, that's how I eventually ended up where I am today.
That is awesome. Thank you. How about you, King?
Oh, goodness. I've grown up playing the Mortal Kombat series since I was a little kid. I wasn't around for the older ones, like Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3. But I think Deception, I want to say, was my first game.
Oh, yes.
I want to say.
Oh,
but then, what was interesting was that my mom had no idea. Like, she thought they had just stopped making Mortal Kombat.
Right.
So, when Mortal Kombat Armageddon came out, she saw a trailer for it in, like, GameStop or something.
Right.
And I still remember, she told us, she said, so what I did was I did what any logical person would do next. I bought a PS2. I bought Armageddon, and I bought an extra remote, and I bought it home.
That's awesome.
So,
yeah,
and then she also didn't know that DC had come out either.
Gotcha. Okay. That's awesome. Yeah, Mortal Kombat Deception, a lot of history there. I mean, a lot of people crap on it now just because it's so old and just 3D and all that jazz, but I'm not going to go into my full history, so to speak, but like... back in '05 when that game, basically I was into the first games, and I always had like a Super Nintendo, and that was the system that didn't have all the blood. It was like a toned down version of Mortal Kombat. So I always wanted like the Sega Genesis versions because they were like the bloody and everything else. I was never any good with them. Okay, still I'm not. I'm more of a spectator. But basically when Deception came out was also the time that I first actually got like a computer at my mom's house. She got a desktop computer. It was like a whole new world for me. I never had a computer before. And so I got introduced to Mortal Kombat Deception. I think it was around the time the game was coming out or was already out. And I naturally, searching the internet, and back then, don't even remember what it really looked like, but I found MortalKombatOnline.com. And so I was on there for a good while, and there was a time where, of course, I obviously real life stuff, moving out and everything else, and I was away from the scene for about a full year, without internet or anything else. It's all about moving out and paying your bills, and you don't have enough money for cable and all that stuff, so naturally you don't have it. So after that, I moved out with who is now my wife, and basically a year later, online, and I think it was actually Rio at the time that I saw on it's actually Rio at the time that I saw posting about MKU on MortalKombatOnline.com. So anyway, it's on MKU for a while, and without getting into the meat and potatoes of everything that happened, basically just went our separate ways. There's just things that I wanted to do that I was limited there, so I branched off and basically created what is now Test Your Might with people had similar interests. And I know Gerchap's on the forums now, which I'm very thrilled that he's back. I think it's awesome the thread that he made about all these older players, just bringing back so many memories. It's weird because back then, guy like Conquer on the forums, like back then he actually had his own website that was dedicated to these gameplay videos. And I don't even really think we had YouTube back then, which is so weird. It makes us feel like we're super old, but it's just, YouTube came out, I think it was like '05 or whatever. So it's not, anyway, like he had nowhere to actually host these videos online other than his own website. So like the old videos to say, I'm just going to throw out random players' names here, like Quick 1320, Vital, that's Yayo, M2 Dave, who is still around, and anyone who understands him still doing Doomsday drops in my one comment on the forums will know exactly, because he was like the Dairyu player. You never knew when he was going to throw one of those at you, and he was the competition back then was just sick. Again, just a whole different world. Just so much respect for all those guys. It was the first game that took us online. So, just Deception characters, I really, really hope they make it back into MK11. Ashura. I don't really care about Darius. I never really did, but Dairyu, of course, Boraicho came back in MKX. Noob Smoke, I doubt that'll ever happen again, but that was a really cool concept when it happened. There's Shujinko, Shujinky Dink, everyone knows him. And a really good player who played him back then was Crackfiend. Just sick. I mean, just nuts. I wish, I hope Conquer actually has some of his videos that he can service and actually put on YouTube. And now when we watch him, it'd probably be like, what are you guys hyping this up so much about? It's like these weren't anything special. I have a feeling that'll probably happen, but again, just the memories we have is nuts for that era. Anyway, so on to how about your guys' thoughts on MK11? Overall, and I mean by that from different aspects. So we didn't hear anything about it at E3. But really, I just felt like it was okay. Even if they would have announced it at E3, we still have the same timeline. You understand what I'm getting at here? It was going to be released.
Yeah.
It was going to be released in April, regardless. They're just pushing it back to where all this information's like jam-packed all together. Instead of waiting like a month or two, we're actually getting it kind of sandwiched. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I personally enjoy that a lot more because personally, I'm just the type of person who, I guess it's kind of hard to explain, but I guess I'd rather get it all like in quick succession rather than have to wait like months in between information. That was really bad. What I really hated about MKX's information span, because it was just like, well, it's been a month and there's been no information. Like, is this game still coming out? Like, I just don't like that personally. Kind of like with artists, if they announce an album and they release a single and there's like 2 months and they release another single, I don't like that. I would just rather you just announce it within like 3 months. So I like this better just because, there's more information coming out at a more steady pace. Like, they already just had a comeback cast and there's a next one next week. Like, I feel like the hype, I can keep my hype up.
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a lot of bad things to say about Bethesda, but I will say that's one thing they absolutely do right, that cycle of they won't announce the game until 6 months before it actually comes out. So, like you were saying, you get that constant flow of information coming out, so you actually stay excited, and bam, once they've shown everything, you can now play the frickin' game, as opposed to, all right, I guess I got to find something else to occupy my time with. It's... for me, it's pretty enjoyable, and it makes our job a lot easier trying to find stuff to talk about. When there's actually stuff to talk about, instead of like, okay, let me just go through 20,000 Injustice 2 mobile unboxings to find something even worth looking at.
No, you have an awesome point there. That's okay, so if anyone follows me on Twitter or whatever else, I kind of try to keep my worlds apart away in this like different games that I play. But I play Fortnite, and if you guys play that at all, you know exactly that they can keep it fresh. They keep the content going. I kind of I'm not all about that game's all about the microtransactions. That's how they make their money. It's a free to play game, but when I'm playing that sometimes, I can't help but wonder, like, it'd just be great if actually NetherRealm did something like this, where you actually had seasons where, like, your seasons has exclusive characters.
Like Street Fighter 5?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know exactly how Street Fighter 5 works as far as the seasons go, because, for example, like, with Fortnite, if I get into the game today, like, I don't have anything, and I just get into it today, guess what? You only have Season 7. It's in Season 7 right now, so basically a character from, like, Season 3, you cannot get anymore. That's the thing about it.
I don't like that. I just like that.
On the other side of things, it's nice for those who are into it, because I've had my son's account on it since Season 3, so he has Season 3 characters that basically then you have characters that no one else has, because you've been playing it for X amount of time. But then once
I've never been a fan of limited things in video games.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of goes both ways. But yeah, like Season 7, like once that's over, for example, if you really like the Ice King and you have all that stuff, which that's like the 100 tier character, then you can't get that one anymore. So it's pretty cool in that aspect, but I'm not saying that I'd like to see NetherRealm do exactly that, but like what I have, and forgive the language a little bit here, but I have the shits of their games dying every 2 years. It's like, it's okay. So they changed up the announcement times for MK11. We know that clearly because there was no announcement for at E3, yada yada. Okay, but again, the release date was going to stay the same. But now, I just kind of seeing the game's future. That's the only thing that, and don't get me wrong, I'm super excited about MK11. But I just kind of foresee it, like after MK11 is out for a while, then okay, here comes Injustice 3 or whatever they do. I don't think I'm the only one that feels like they don't like the games that just like die every few years. Like they don't. I shouldn't say they don't care about it, but you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, I get what you mean. Like I said, I wish they would adopt the style that they do with Mortal Kombat. Well, the Street Fighter's doing right now. Like with Street Fighter 5, they're still coming out with DLC for that game. Like even now, I think some character named Kage. It just got added like a month ago or something like that. And I agree with you because, and I feel like having to do the injustice thing, like I feel like that really stifles it because, I mean, I don't know very many gaming companies who like consistently keep up on top of, or I guess like small-ish because, you know, that's almost like a subdivision of like Warner Brothers. But I don't know very many games who like continuously update 2 different games. So I think Injustice 3 would have to be put on the back burner. So I mean, it's great to hope for it because I hope for it as well. But ultimately, I think that there's really no change yet at this point.
Well, you know, something they can kind of do with this model, trying to establish with Mortal Kombat 11, with the custom variation system, you can kind of have the middle ground between the what Street Fighter does and what they are used to doing, right? So I believe Apollo already mentioned that they're looking at the possibility of adding in new variations over time, you know, like ones that are like officially made by NRS, you know, this is balanced, you can use it for tournament play. So you can maybe have a sort of season like that, right, where you release a couple, you know, costumes or shaders, and then you drop some new variations in there. So, you know, you basically have new characters coming out every few weeks, few months, whenever, versus, well, once all the DLC is out, that's pretty much it. You know, hope you like the game enough to keep playing it forever.
Yeah. I just very, very excited about it. I was a little taken aback by no X-rays because I really like the X-rays, but I think the crushing blows that all looks really, really nice. The characters themselves, they just look sick overall. Really looking forward to it. I'm really hoping that some Mortal Kombat Deception characters come out and for it. Especially Fujin. I knew they teased him in MKX, I believe it was, in like the storyline. Yeah, really hoping that Fujin comes back. But yeah, as far as the lifespans, that's the only thing I guess I just had to get off my chest about, you know, NetherRealm games, and maybe I'm naive in thinking that they could just kind of keep updating a game forever because I get it. They have to move on. But that's the only thing that has bothered me, and I guess it's my first time being able to voice that opinion on a on a podcast. So there it was. Is there any characters, for example, that haven't been in games for a while that you guys want to see returning?
I can't really think of anybody that wasn't in MK9, not particularly. I might think of them as you guys, so you guys go on ahead.
So I would say, as a Kira main from Mortal Kombat Deception, I think this is her time to shine. I know a lot of people kind of find her bland as the female Kano, but you know what? I'll take it.
You said Kira, right?
Correct.
Oh, yeah, the redhead. Yeah, she had like the double blades.
Yep, exactly. She was like kind of rushed down really quick, and she was, at least in that game, pretty easy to pick up. So, you know, just to kind of see them do that character with some like talent rather than you know what they were doing before, I personally be pretty happy with it.
Now, wasn't she like if I remember correctly, was she kind of like a Kano, kind of?
Yeah,
well, like
red-headed
100% just female Kano.
Yeah, because
she was female Kano with red hair.
Because she had
she had red hair. Did she have red hair?
Yeah, she had red hair, and of course back then you didn't have. I think you had like one alternate skin. I think. I don't think she had any though. I know like Sub-Zero, for example, he had like the one where he had like kind of like a bald head. And then he had one where he had like a Shredder mask. But no, I think she had even like the Kano ball and everything, if I remember correctly.
Oh goodness. I would like to see Blaze. I think seeing Blaze back will be very interesting.
Blaze.
Though it feels like Scorpion, but I feel like Scorpion kind of took over all the firepower, so I don't think we're going to see him ever again. And then he's also kind of linked to Armageddon, so.
Wasn't he in the background for one stage in Mortal Kombat X? Am I remembering that right? Like him fighting somebody?
Yeah, Rain. He and Rain were fighting in the background.
Oh,
the pit stage in Mortal Kombat X.
Was he the one that was on fire in the background?
Yeah, and then Rain was the water guy fighting him.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of Rain, I feel like Rain really got snubbed in Mortal Kombat X. Like, I was like, really? You didn't... Like, I get that he couldn't be DLC because they didn't want to do repeat DLC. So I was like, you went through the trouble of giving him a completely new redesign, which I thought looked amazing. And I was like, you didn't even make him playable. What? Like, I feel like he really got snubbed there.
He was sick at MK9. You know that oh my gosh, his roundhouse kick where you basically switch screens. Yeah, that was sick. He was a really, really cool character in that game.
Yeah, I don't think I want anybody that hasn't been said like 15 million times over.
Well, hey, one of the last topics that I had in mind was the players that we think that are gonna rise, fall. Just other than obviously Sonic Fox, I think he's starting to really annoy everyone with how much he wins or how much he wins.
Yeah, Sonic Fox not going anywhere. But if he's going to die off, now would be the time, because typically it's every Mortal Kombat game that somebody gets officially replaced.
Well, you might have something there, because MK9 was like a lot of REO, CD Jr. Oh my, let's see. Oh, Detroit Ballin, I know won a few. Tom Brady won a few, or I think Tom Brady won one or two. Oh my gosh, man. Anyway, but yeah, MK9 and MKX, of course, has Sonic's name written all over it, except for a few, of course. But he won, I think, the majority of them. Now, I know there's players I'm not mentioning. Like there's Dragon. Help me out here. Who else is like a big name in with Mortal Kombat X between these, other than...
Well, there was a lot of the yummy guys, like, Forever King, like MIT, DJT.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, yes, you're right. Wow, apologize for missing those. Yeah, Yomi was dominating.
I still go back and watch those fights.
Yeah. Wow, totally forgot about them. Yeah, but then again, they kind of dropped off, like, out of nowhere. But yeah, Forever King... Holy crap, man. Yeah, Forever King. Oh my. But yeah, with Injustice 2. Now, granted, I kind of fell out of things for a while. Everyone knows that. I just got really burnt out of things. So a lot of the names with Injustice 2, besides Sonic, you had Dragon.
Oh yeah, Hayate is a thing as well.
Hayate, yeah. So yeah, who all do you guys? I mean, as far as players go, the last few years, is there anyone that you'd like to speak of, or what your thoughts are of them going forward?
I mean, I only root for winners, and Sonic Fox has been winning all the time, so I don't have anybody else I like.
Well, just kind of going through. Some of the names that might not be so obvious, like Tweety, Rewind, we already talked about Dragon, but Scar, I think he has an Evo medal for MKX, and, of course, he just took top 3 in the last Injustice Pro Series Finals, so, I mean, he's probably a guy, you really shouldn't count out. Theo, if he decides to stick with, Mortal Kombat this time around, he's always, a top 5 player. Big D, if he decides to actually make a comeback. Otherwise, he's just going to show up at EVO and, take his top 8 and leave again.
Big D is one of the hypest people, I swear.
Yeah, and... I would also throw out some of the South American players. Just us kind of being in North America, you don't really see them too often. But and forgive me if I'm getting some of these names wrong. But like Killer Zanuck, I know he's really makes a good showing whenever he kind of has that big stage to play on, and. The one reason I'm thinking of that is it seems like NRS is trying to make more of a push to get the South American players like get more involved with the scene. Like, you know, they just had that reveal event in Brazil, and
awesome.
you know, they have like the Liga Latina qualifier for the Injustice Pro Series. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see some of those guys kind of make a splash, like the you know, just kind of like an unexpected, you know, a punch to the North American player base.
Oh God, you know somebody who I want to see return is Milky's Situation, because I still remember back like years ago when MKX first came out, when I used to watch him on Twitch because he was called Milkgasm there, and he was like, oh, I'm going to go to Evo. I was like, oh, I hope he does, like, you know, top 64. Ends up going, you know, into top 8. You know, with Reptile, I was so impressed and so glad to see him
You're right.
show up and show out.
You're right. He was one of those guys that kind of came out of nowhere and was like making a scene. And yeah, you're right. Well, I forget what year that was, but wow, yeah.
That was the first year. That was the very first year of the Evo for Mortal Kombat X. I still remember. For weeks. Like his views shot up after he came back. When he came back, his views shot like into the hundreds. I was like, yes, he is getting the credit he deserves. I was so glad to see him get his due.
You know, with that being said, and I can't remember where he's from exactly. I know it's not the U.S., but the player Hey George, the Joker player. That dude, wow. Because I was actually just watching, while I was eating the other day, I pulled up a YouTube video of him playing Sonic. I just forgot how sick his Joker was. Just speaking of international players, you know, him, I remember, also, this is going back a little further. This is going to Mortal Kombat 9. Madzen's Noob.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Wait, no. Yeah, yes, his Noob Cybot. Like, just the sickest noob I've ever seen, and he'd play those impossible matches with, good lord, I forget what even characters he would be going against, and he would just everything about his gameplay. I might even have to look up some videos today just to check him out again, but yeah, Madzen. Now I know he kind of dropped off. I don't think he's playing much anymore. I think he actually got into music, which is awesome. But yeah, just a few of the international players that come to mind. Obviously, you have Ketchup Mustard. You have Foxy. You have oh my, who else was it? Just
I was gonna say the Nasser guys, Shark Teeth and Tekken Master. I wouldn't be surprised if I see them in Evo Top 16 next year.
Yeah. Tekken Master. Let's see here. Who else? And when you guys mentioned, of course, not so much international, but Theo, just one of those players that, similar to Sonic, now, to my knowledge, Theo doesn't really play MKX at all, but when he played Injustice, he was basically right up there with Sonic, to where you could not count him out until he was dead, until he was like done. He was one of those, obviously a big fan of Sonic. I actually have recordings of him playing money matches with like Tom Brady in like old Winter Brawl tournaments when Sonic was probably, this is probably a little exaggeration, but he's probably like 12 years old. I don't even think it was being streamed, but between these guys and how often they win, of course, it just gets a little tiring to see him winning all the time. But no, Theo, I just, watching Theo play, just like Sonic, and whenever, of course I'm jumping around a little bit here, but who remembers watching Sonic pulling out Captain Cold at, was that Vianality? Was that the one that he pulled?
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. And see, and personally, that's why I personally don't get bored of watching Sonic play, because oftentimes he'll play a bunch of off-the-wall weird characters for no reason, or for matchup reasons.
Yeah, Sonic just, it's like he turns into the character, and he knows like the best how to like.
Yeah, like in MKX, like he played Tanya for a while, he played Predator for a while, he played Alien for a while. You know, I think he played Goro for a short minute as well. You know, played Katana, played Aaron Black, played just so many different characters that personally I didn't get bored of seeing him win all the time, unless he was always playing Aaron Black. At that point, it did get kind of boring.
The only time one of the times that I didn't mind watching Sonic, and you guys are probably gonna laugh at this, is when he was playing that money match against PL, and it was.
Oh God, we're not even going to. Can we just not?
Okay, so that match is kind of hard to watch, you know, just because even when you're sitting at home watching it, it's just awkward. But when you know it's 10-0, and Big E says, "Oh, you know, well, it was a different character, so he plays Aaron Black," and that was one of the times that just, yeah, I didn't mind watching him play Aaron Black then. It just that was like his first character that he really got into, but again, it's like he turns into that character, and he knows like the best moves, best setups, and going back to how he was with Captain Cold, when you're watching him play as Captain Cold, it's just genius, and in my opinion, like with watching him play and how his setups and everything, it's just nuts. But anyway, so basically, if I have this correctly, we're about 40 minutes in, so we'll go ahead and hang this up. So again, we have my name is Storms, host here, and we have HellBlazer Hawkman, and we also
Howdy.
KingKhrystopher, both news editors on TestYourMight.com. Now, as far as how often these episodes will come out or who will be on them, you know, this is very new to us. So it might actually just be the three of us from now on. Maybe we'll have a special guest here and there. I don't know ideally how many guests you should have on one of these things. Or whatnot. I don't want to crowd it too much, but anyway. But yeah, till next time. Anything you guys want to say to wrap it up?
You know, the only thing I'd really throw out there is, we're open to criticism. You know, like Storms was just saying, this is totally new. I personally never done anything like this before. I don't know if you guys have ever even done like a guest appearance on something, but you know, any suggestions on what we could do to kind of make this better? You know, throw them out there. As long as they're friendly and actually constructive, we'll be happy to listen.
Awesome points. What about you, King?
Oh no, that's it for me. This is the first time I've done anything like this.
Awesome. Well, hey guys, I appreciate the time that you took to be on this with me, and we appreciate anyone who's listening to this point, and we will see you soon. Thank you.